Once upon a time when Ken was about this tall, driving around with his dad, he would tell me about gas wars. How one gas station would be at war with the other gas station across the street to see how low the gas price could go. Maybe as low as 19.9. Yeah, it sounds like a fairyland, doesn't it? But that was the way it was once upon a time. Well, obviously it's not that way anymore. There were more local service stations, people that you knew that wasn't part of a large chain. Well, we're going to be talking to one of those owners of a gas station that's still a local gas station, not part of a large chain, one that gives local community service and all that good stuff. We're on location today, and we are at Glackin's Highway Service in Delta, Pennsylvania. That's right. My name's Ken Kidrowski, and you are on location. Well, you are on location, and I'm Ken Kidrowski, and thanks for joining me here. And this is a treat today because, you know, there are all sorts of special little nuggets that I've told you about on other shows, special little places hidden here, there, and everywhere. Well, we've got one here today in Delta, Pennsylvania, and it's Glackin's Highway Service. And right here is the man himself, Joe Glackin. Joe, thank you. I'm trying to shake hands with you, man.
Okay.
Hey, thanks for letting me be here with you today. And
Certainly.
you know, I'm not going to kid the audience out there. I brought my car in here quite a few times, and I know the quality of your service and all that stuff. So I'll be glad to give you a testimonial. But more than just a gas station and a service station, this place has a life of its own. It has a history of its own. So if you don't mind, why don't we start right from the beginning? So how far back in time do we have to go to where your dad had a service station in the borough of Delta?
Well, that was, I think, around 1950.
Yeah.
Probably around 1950, he moved in this area and out of the service.
Yeah.
And he was a mechanic, and that's what he liked to do. And he worked at several shops, and he came across a shop in Delta and really liked it and liked the people and knew some people, and said, I'd like to have a place like this one day. And he got a hold of, talked with the owner, and he was willing to sell it, and they made some kind of an agreement. I don't know exactly how it went, but it belonged to Kelly Asbury, and the next day Dad came in and he bought the place lock, stock, and barrel. He bought the inventory, the garage down in Delta, and fuel and gas pumps and the whole works, the inventory of the fuel pumps and
So
everything.
that was about 1950.
I think it was around 1950.
All right, so time goes on, and then your dad finds out that the state's going to put in this new road, 74, and at that time it was the new road. In fact, as some people called it, and probably still do, the Delta bypass.
Yep, that's what
And
we
he
call
put
it.
two and two together, and he figured, I better move the business someplace else.
So
he did.
Yeah. He knew the road was being put in, and he purchased this farmland out here with the intentions of building a garage. And he built this in, they put the road in 59, and I think he started in 60. And started with all these pictures, and the garage we're standing on now has a full basement. That was ground level. So all this out front here was built up. The road was built up because the road was not there.
So it took tons and tons of fill, or however they call it,
It took
to
a
bring it
summer.
up. Because if that fill wasn't here, we'd be 10 feet, 12 feet lower
Right.
than where we are right now.
That's why we have a full basement to the
Wow,
garage,
full
because that's
basement for a...
that's virgin ground.
Yeah, you never think of a gas station or a service station having a basement.
Now this has a full basement, and they hauled slate and stone and dirt
Yeah,
all summer with the old time trucks, and
yeah.
filled it and built it.
What, did they bring it from the quarry?
Most of it came from the quarries. There's
Yeah.
a lot of slate out here.
Yeah.
And they just built it up. We have all kind of good pictures showing that. And then we started with a block building, and my brother and I and our family, Dad built it with a friend, and I remember carrying the blocks. And at that time I was a young teen,
Yeah.
and lugging big heavy, the blocks were heavy back then, and it was all we
Your
could do
father
to
was smart.
carry
He
them.
got cheap labor and he kept you out of
But
trouble.
he had a vision that, one day the road would be finished, and
Yeah.
it was, and be a good place to start a business. And so that's what he did. He bought the ground here and built the garage, and we started working here in, I think, '60, and he ran both businesses for a while. He had other people help him, and my brother and I worked after school, and we had other mechanics and stuff. And I think it probably got to be a little too much for him running back and forth.
Between
He
two
built a
stations.
house down here in '63. He built a house with the intention of moving out of Delta. And in '64, Mike and I were both getting to college age, getting ready to graduate, and he knew he was going to lose a little help. So he sold out of Delta. He sold his house and a couple buildings he had in the business, and moved everything out here, and it was easier on him. And I think at that time, one of the mechanics that worked here wound up buying the other business. So it worked out pretty good.
So how many different types of gasoline did you have sold over the course of time, all the different brands?
Well, it started out in Delta, in town, was Texaco and Esso at the same time for a transition, and then it was Esso.
Yeah.
And then when he built this was also Esso. Eventually Esso was changed to Exxon, so
Yeah.
we were Exxon, and then Exxon merged with Mobil sometime later, so Exxon wanted us to rebrand to Mobil, so we rebranded to Mobil, and we were Mobil for several years. And then somewhere along the line they decided they were moving Mobil out of the area, so our Mobil they wanted us to rebrand to Exxon again. And
Yeah.
at that point, we got tired of changing, so we just decided to go independent, put our own name, Glackin's Highway Service, and go unbranded and sell our product under Glackin's Highway Service.
A lot of people would find it hard to believe, especially the real younger generation, that once upon a time there was a thing called gas wars.
Yes.
Because, I mean, you wouldn't see that today. And you can explain it better than I can, where one gas station on one corner and the other station, they say, well, you're selling it for, don't laugh, folks, $17.9 or something like that. And I say, well, we're going to lower it to $15.9 or something. But,
They did. I remember that happening in town. That was Glackin's Central Service. This was Glackin's Highway Service.
Oh.
But we had gas wars down there. I remembered, I think, about as low as 17 cents when I was pumping
17 cents a gallon,
'cause
folks. Yeah.
when I started driving, I could fill my car for $3 and run the whole weekend, you know. But then after we came up here, I forget what year they had it was in the like '76 maybe or somewhere, and I was out of the service and came back home and started working here in '71. Now I think it was in '75 or '6 maybe they started the gas shortages. That was a real hassle because they started odd and even days.
That's right, all that.
And you could only have gas if you had under a half a tank. And we had 3 entrances into the business, and we couldn't hardly get to work because the people were already lined up.
But getting back to the gas war days, during that time, did you also give out like trading stamps or
We
coupons?
did. We
or
gave
something?
out. We had S&H green stamps.
S&H green stamps.
That was a big thing.
Yeah.
We had
I
S&H
could just
green
imagine how
stamps.
that'd be today if they gave out premiums now when you bought gas for,
I don't think that's going to happen.
No, I don't think. No, I don't think that's going to happen too. But anyway, so you have the station up here, and it was built up here, like you said. It took all that fill to make it possible to be at a decent level to meet Route 74. And so now, as it operates today, you've got gas pumps going. You're doing general repairs. If somebody has a flat tire, you run out there right away. I remember so many times being in here for servicing my car, and somebody comes in here with a problem, and being the kind of guy you are, and your son John, you'll do whatever you can to get the stranger going and help them out, as well as the local folks. I mean, I think most of the local folks think of this as like a community center because, I mean, as I was telling you earlier, I mean, I've only lived in this area for about 15 years, but when I come in, it's like it's old home week. People are sitting there reading the paper and doing all this stuff, and they feel so very much at home, almost like it was a barber shop or something, talking about everything that's going on. So not only are you a service station, but it's like a community center too.
Yeah, you're right. A lot of people come in kind of just to hang out and see what's going on. They come in, they sit there in the chair and read the paper. get the news or watch TV and just chat and have a good time. It's pretty friendly.
Well, it was kind of like my idea that a place like this is, you know, I don't want to embarrass you or anything, but it's kind of a special thing because it's like you don't see too many independent service stations like this anymore. I mean, it's just the plain fact of the matter. It's an objective truth that that's the way it is, and the people in this area should appreciate what they have in your station, and they should, and other people passing through. If you're watching this on YouTube, for instance, stop on down to Glackin Service. You'll be glad you did. So listen, Joe, it's been great talking to you. It's been great, and I'm sure that during the course of the program, the people have seen other things around the station. So look, now I'm going to shake hands with you. Okay. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
And I'll be back in a minute, and we'll sum everything up. Well, happy drivers, what have we learned today? Well, we've learned about this gas station, service station in Delta, Pennsylvania, that's been around, well, longer than I've been around. And it started in the borough of Delta, and now it's here on Route 74 and Line Road in the zip code of Delta, Pennsylvania, 17314, still giving friendly neighborhood service to people in Delta and Whiteford and Cardiff and Pilesville. Yeah, it's still all here, still pumping the gas, and full service gas too. Can you believe that? It's just an amazing story. And it's nice to know there are still these friendly neighborhood places still in existence. It's the kind of a neighborhood place we like to talk about on the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel. Well, hey, my name's Ken Kudrowski. I appreciate the time you've spent with me today because, once again, you've been on location.